Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Real Madrid beat Stuttgart 3-1. And yeah, let's go about the game. First, I'll delve into the game itself first, and then we'll move on to the players and Carlo and the tactics and all of that, right? So, this game, it was a very chaotic game, especially in the first like 20 minutes. Stuttgart really dominated that phase in the first 20 minutes. They had all the momentum. They from the very start they got shots off. Most of them from outside the box, but they were getting shots off, and for them to get that momentum, that was the most important thing. Real Madrid, after like the 20th minute, I would say, if you look at the momentum graph, yeah, around the 20th minute is when they got the momentum back from Stuttgart and really started piling on until the end of the half. I thought in this moment where like from 20 minute to the end of the first half, Real Madrid should have scored like 2 goals. I think there was more than enough like counter-attacking opportunities that Real Madrid didn't take advantage of. That normally you expect that Real Madrid would take advantage of, but they didn't. They weren't clinical. They weren't sharp in the final third. There were some brilliant plays from the likes of Jude Bellingham, who had a fantastic game by the way. He just dictated that whole attack for Real Madrid, passing around, dribbling, carrying the ball, finding people out wide, playing passes through the middle. Jude Bellingham was incredible. I'll touch on him more later on. But yeah, so Real Madrid ended the half really well. And then they started the half really well as well, getting the early goal with Kylian Mbappe. Tchouameni placed that ball to Rodrigo in behind. And that's something Real Madrid did all game against Stuttgart, right? Played the balls in behind because Stuttgart, they come here, they play football, they wanna be proactive. They just don't want to sit back and defend. So they gave Real Madrid a lot of space, and in turn, Real Madrid got into the spaces a lot of times. But again, like I said, they weren't sharp, and they didn't take those opportunities like we expect Real Madrid to in the Champions League in these type of games. But in this case, Tchouameni plays the ball, Stuttgart high, Rodrigo runs in behind, all that space, and then he plays a square ball to Mbappe, and Mbappe scores the first one. And then after that, Real Madrid, I felt like, still dominated the game until, let's check the momentum graph again. It says 55 minutes. Yeah, I'll say around there, 55, 60 minutes. Then Stuttgart came back in again. And after this point, Stuttgart really put the pressure on Real Madrid. And of course, they get their goal in the 60, was it 68 minute? Let's see when they get their goal. In the 68 minute, they get their goal. And after that, again, the momentum shifts back to Real Madrid, where they go and get their second with Antonio Rudiger's corner, and then Endrick comes off the bench and scores a wonder goal. He's a player I'm going to touch on later as well. So yeah, very chaotic game, a game where the momentum shifted a lot of times, but Real Madrid, it was because of their mistakes that Stuttgart got these momentum. It's because of their mistakes that Stuttgart got 17 shots off, for example, created 3 big chances, XG of 1.94. I mean, this is a game where Stuttgart could have scored 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. I say that Real Madrid should have scored 2 goals in the first half themselves, but Stuttgart in the first 20 minutes of this game, they should have scored 2 goals as well. So it was a problem for Real Madrid. The defensive problems, not being proactive enough off the ball, not being hardworking enough off the ball, trying to close down spaces because there was a large gap. I'll show it here, for example, right? So, for example, Real Madrid have the ball. They play the ball forward. It's with the front five, right? The front five today was Vinny, Mbappe, Jude, and Rodrigo, right? The front five would have the ball. And what Real Madrid's defensive line would do is they wouldn't push up to try and like make the space compact. Whenever they lose the ball, they can just win it back quickly. They did that, I felt like, after like the 20th minute, like I said, when they got their momentum. But half of this game, Real Madrid just sat back. The defenders just sat back, right? And in doing so, you had all this space in the middle where when Real Madrid lost the ball here, a Stuttgart player would just pick it up and just run at Real Madrid's defense. And then having Carvajal here, which was a makeshift defender, it didn't help either because the communication and when to jump to close down the person with the ball and when to not leave space. The communication wasn't there because Carvajal was a makeshift center back and Lucas Vázquez didn't help him either from right back. So that created a lot of defensive issues for Real Madrid that they couldn't handle throughout the whole game. I mean, even when Eder Militao came back, that space right here was still very present. I mean, if you look at these average positions right here, right? You can see here, Rudiger's all the way back. You see this space between Rudiger and Bellingham. You see this space in the middle between Valverde and Bellingham, which isn't bad. But look how stretched the whole team is. Look at you go from Vasquez all the way to Mendy. Look how stretched that pitch is. You want everything to be more compact. So teams can't just run at you and just create chances out of will because you're giving them all these space. You have to do a better job to close it down. And I don't see why Real Madrid are scared to do this because we have the profiles. Real Madrid have the players to close down these spaces. Rudiger, Eder Militao. They can run. They can cover these spaces if the ball does get played in behind. So I don't see the point of Carlo being this conservative in a game like this. It doesn't make sense to me because Real Madrid have the players to play on the front foot, close down these spaces, and not let a team like Stuttgart have their way, create chances at will, like they were doing throughout this game, Now, moving on to some of the players. I think that's the main tactical or main thing coming out of this game. It wasn't much like build-up issue like we saw in the last game, but this game it was all off the ball. I mean, even in this previous games, off the ball, Real Madrid haven't been great, right? Same thing, leaving all that space, just space for players to just run at the defense. That's not good. Real Madrid have to close these spaces down. Carlo, it's up to him. I've been saying it so far. Like these issues, off the ball issues, are for Carlo to fix. On the ball, fine. Like let the ballers ball. I like that from Carlo. Like let the players do what they want to do. But off the ball, Carlo has to find a solution where he can make the team compact, where he can play a football that's proactive, that's going to push the opposition and not let the opposition have their way with Real Madrid. Moving on to the players, I've seen a lot of people give Vinny stick for this game. I think he had an okay game. It wasn't the worst game. It wasn't the best game. He had an okay game. I think he should have had a goal. That pass that Endrick played to him towards the end of the game, it's a beautiful pass, perfectly weighted. Vinny just didn't finish. Unfortunate, but I thought Vinny had an okay game. Kylian Mbappe, another goal for him. That's now back-to-back games where he's had a goal. Back-to-back games, actually, where he's had a goal. Which is great, signs, and I feel like he's only going to get better from here today. So there were some moments where his dribbling was very sharp. He looked explosive. He was fast, and I think we'll see more of that from Mbappe as the season goes on. But even he said it himself. He knows that he can score more goals, and Mbappe, he will score more goals because that's the player he is. I predicted him to get 40, 50 goals this season. I still stick by that. And I think he'll do it. Positive game from him. Probably Real Madrid's best attacker, apart from Rodrigo, who was fantastic on that right-hand side. He was taking on players. He was getting past players. He's a player that could have had a goal himself. Of course, he assisted Kylian Mbappe. But very positive signs. Like I've said, this front line is just not the problem in this team. Even when Jude Bellingham comes in, right? I talked about how Jude was dictating everything. He was controlling the flow of Real Madrid's attack, how fluid Real Madrid looked with Jude on the pitch. Compared to how they play when he's not on the pitch. Jude just makes this team more fluid because he allows someone like Mbappe, he allows Vinny to just move more freely, right? I've talked about this in the past, right? Vinny, because Jude is here now, Vinny can come in, get the ball where Jude normally is, and Jude can make that run. That is the good thing about having Jude in this team. You get so many rotations because Jude is such a versatile player where he can occupy so many spaces, right? We saw this against Atalanta when this, front four of Rodrigo, Vini, Mbappe, and Jude played together. Jude just gives you so many options to rotate around the pitch, right? Say Mbappe goes here, Jude will come in the middle. Say Vini goes here, then Jude will drop. Like Jude just gives you so much flexibility in the way he plays. And he's also fantastic on the ball. The way he moves for his size with his quick step, it's like he's floating, right? And he can pass here, do little 1-2s. He can release Rodrigo on this side. Jude Bellingham is a true dictator of games in this Real Madrid team. People don't want to give him credit for that. People want to always undermine his game for some reason. But Jude Bellingham is that good. And today he showed again why he's one of the best players in this team. Easily. Of course he's one of the best players in this team. But performances like this keep on reminding people why he's one of the best in the world. Apart from that, again, the defense, not good. Carvajal makes your center back. It wasn't great. When Militao came in, it did get better. But again, the spaces that Real Madrid left for Stuttgart to exploit was just too much, I felt like, in this game, and then we didn't really see any improvement throughout the game. Besides Carvajal going to the right and Militao coming in, just making that defense more secure, giving Real Madrid that pace in behind, that pace to run when Stuttgart did play in behind. Finally, Thibaut Courtois. What can I say about this guy? Thibaut Courtois is the goal. Okay, the best way I can describe Courtois, what Courtois is for goalkeepers, Erling Haaland is for strikers. I think that's a great analogy. And that's an amazing analogy. Hear me out. Thibaut Courtois, like Erling Haaland, his build is crazy. The way he moves for his build, how agile he is, how fast he is off his feet to get across goal, to make saves. Just like Erling Haaland, who's tall, who has an insane build, but still quick. He can still shrug off defenders. Courtois' size as well just makes him such an unstoppable keeper. And I've said it for the past few seasons. For me, he's the best keeper in the world. Look, he might not be the most complete keeper. He might not be the most skilled with the ball. He might not be the best sweeper. But what he does, nobody is better than him. What he does, I don't think anyone's close to him. I wouldn't say close to him. I think I'm exaggerating, but I feel like he's on a tier by himself in terms of what he does, in terms of shot stopping, how he can protect his goal. I don't think there's anyone better in the world. I just find it very hard to believe that there's anybody better in the world than Thibaut Courtois at doing what he does best. There just isn't. A man of this size, the way he moves, his dominance in the box, how good he's in the air. And today, what surprised me the most, not surprised, because I knew Courtois could do this. What impressed me the most is the way he's using the ball now, right? I said it here. I think Courtois has been told to play this way now. I think he's been told to be more conservative with the ball because the first few games of the La Liga season, right? The first few games of La Liga this season, Courtois, he wasn't treating the ball well, especially with Kroos gone now. We need to keep more control. We need to play those short passes to defenders, keep the ball more, right? But Courtois in those first 2 to 3 La Liga games, from what I was seeing, wasn't doing that. He was putting the ball up. We were losing possession. Opponent would counter again with the space that Real Madrid leave for them to exploit. And then it would just be a back and forth, like a hot potato game. Which didn't suit Real Madrid because the players had to do a lot of running. The players had to do a lot of defending. But now, what Courtois has done, and I think he's been told to do this by the coaching staff, because Carlo said he's going to find ways to improve the squad here and there. And I think this is one of their improvements, right? Telling Thibaut Courtois, play more passes to the 6. Play more passes out wide. Play those simple passes where you can keep the ball, where you can maintain control, where we don't have to give the ball every time and make it into a transition, counter-attacking game, right? And I think Courtois has done this really well. Look at today's game. Some of the passes he was playing, that pass to Carvajal especially. I mean, he plays those long passes all the time, but that pass to Carvajal today, that was brilliant. And he still did the small stuff good. He still did the easy things, right? Play the ball to the 6. Even under pressure, he was doing it. And that's what impressed me the most about Thibaut Courtois, along with his shot stopping. I think his ball playing is really underrated. For me, he's the best keeper in the world. There's not much I can say about this guy that hasn't already been said. I think he's the greatest keeper to ever play for Real Madrid. From all the keepers I've seen wear the Real Madrid shirt, I think Thibaut Courtois is the best. I think he's better than Casillas. I think he's better than Navas. I think for me, if there was any keeper that I had to choose in the history of Real Madrid to guard the net, there isn't anybody I'm picking other than Thibaut Courtois. The Martians have the debt being pointed at Earth. Give me Thibaut Courtois to block that to block that beam and send it away into outer space. That's how much I love Thibaut Courtois. Yes, that's how much I love Thibaut Courtois. And to wrap it off, Carlo Ancelotti after the game, I said we're trying to find our best versions. It's not easy. We have suffered in the Champions League. I said he's always suffered in the Champions League. He knows this. Real Madrid knows this. But I think for Carlos, right? For Carlo, we can't be having these type of games. Like, yes, in the Champions League we have suffered all the time. That's been a theme with Real Madrid, right? In the Champions League, you suffer. You hit your opponent where it hurts. You win games. The ability to play in any game state, right? The ability to play against any momentum that the opponent have, I think is Real Madrid's biggest strength in the Champions League. People always ask the question, why does Real Madrid always win these type of games? Why do Real Madrid always seem to be the worst side in a Champions League tie, but go on to still win? The reason is, Real Madrid know how to play against momentum and with momentum, right? What I mean by that, look at today's game versus Stuttgart. First 20 minutes, Stuttgart had the momentum. What did Real Madrid do? They didn't panic. They played through that momentum and created their own momentum after that 20 minutes and then took over the game for the rest of the half. Going to the second half, again, they have the momentum. They played through the momentum. They got their goal. And when Stuttgart came back at them, again, they didn't panic. They just played against their momentum the way they always do, right? That ability to adapt into different situations, into different states that the game is in. It's Real Madrid's biggest strength in the Champions League, and it's our biggest strength as a team under Carlo. So when Carlo says things like this, it's true, but Carlo cannot be letting teams like Stuttgart have this much control, making us suffer this much, which is, for me, simply unacceptable. As Real Madrid, you can't be having this, right? And another thing he said, I remember last season we won 1-0 in the 95th minute against Union Berlin and Getafe. The first games are always most difficult. It's never easy. Again, I get it. The first game is never easy. It's a hump you got to get over. But again, a team like Stuttgart should not be doing what they did to Real Madrid. I think last season, it was a similar start, right? I won't say we've been totally horrible this season compared to last season, because I think last season it was a similar start with Jude Bellingham coming clutch, scoring those last-minute goals. But again, in games like these, the Real Madrid just have to be better with the personnel that they have in the team. They need to be structured better off the ball, on the ball. I think the attack is fine. Look, I'm going to keep saying it. I do not think the attack is the problem. I don't think the front line will ever be a problem in this team. Mbappe, Jude, Rodrigo, Vinicius, they're fine. They're incredible. But what Real Madrid do off the ball is the main issue here. What they do off the ball, how they defend these spaces it was the main issue today. And I think if Carlo cannot fix this, will be the main issue moving forward in the rest of the season. I think Camavinga coming back, if Carlo wants to go to a midfield forward, will be really important to this, and making Real Madrid a more solid, a more compact unit. But as of now, I think Carlo has to find a solution to this until Camavinga is back. Apart from that, I talked about build-up issues in the last game. I think today was better with Jude coming in. Jude dropped in here. Sometimes Mendy would form a back three, and then they rotated the ball. I like that. I think we're going to see that improve as time goes on. But right now, again, the most important thing taken away from this game is to be better off the ball. It's a good win. I almost forgot about I almost forgot about the prophecy, about the child of prophecy, Endrick. This kid is crazy. That left foot that Endrick has is one of the best left foots I've ever seen. And he's going to go on to do great things with that left foot. Not just his left foot, but the first goal he scored for Real Madrid was with his right foot. This kid, the power he can generate with both of his feet is unlike anything I've ever seen. Today, the balls on this guy, with Mbappe to his left, Vinny to his right. Nah. I'm the striker. I'm going to score. The balls on this guy, the mentality, that is why he's playing for Real Madrid, and that is why Real Madrid brought him at such a young age. This is the exact reason. A player like this, with the mentality that he showed today, oh my goodness, I loved it. I loved it. So yeah, guys, this was a game. Again, like Carlos said, they're finding their way. There's improvements to be made, but I think Carlo. We've had more than enough games to see the problems in this side, especially with the build-up, and now, like off-the-ball stuff, how conservative Real Madrid can be. I think those two are the biggest issues that Real Madrid have to work on moving forward, and I think they will. Carlo is a guy who finds solutions, who knows how to make it work. Again, I'm going to trust him because last season, he showed how to do it. Seasons before, he showed how to do it, how to adapt to different situations. I trust Carlo in this. Again, if there's any manager I trust to find solutions, it is Carlo. So hopefully, he does find those solutions. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching. And yeah, see you next time.